If you own a woman-owned small business and you do work with the federal government, check your inbox right now. Because the SBA just sent out an email that a lot of people are quietly panicking about. And the deadline to respond is June 30th. Here's what is happening, why it matters, and exactly what you need to do about it. Earlier this month, the Small Business Administration started auditing the EDWOSB program, that is Economically Disadvantaged Women-Owned Small Business Program. If you're certified, you may have already gotten the email. It asks you to fill out a survey, and this is the part that makes people nervous. It asks for your personal and business tax returns going back 3 years. The legal basis they're citing is a regulation called 13 CFR 127400. In plain English, that's the SBA's authority to examine your firm and confirm you still qualify. Specifically, they are verifying that the woman or women who own at least 51% of the company are still economically disadvantaged under the rules 127203. And on paper, this is routine. The SBA has always had the right to check. But the scale and the timing of this that's what is new. And to understand where it is headed, you have to look at what just happened to a different program. Because this isn't the first time the SBA has done this, it's the second. Back in December of last year, the SBA ran almost exact same play on the 8A program. They emailed more than 4,300 8A firms and asked for financial documentation. Here's how it turned out. More than 1,100 firms got suspended. 154 of them moved towards full termination. Let that sink in. These were companies that were certified, that were winning contracts, that thought they were fine. And a lot of them got knocked out, some because they genuinely no longer qualified, and some just because they didn't respond in time. So when the SBA sends women-owned firms a nearly identical email with the same kind of financial questions and a hard deadline, that's not junk mail. This is shaping up to be the same level of scrutiny the 8A program is now under. That's a lesson. The 8A audit was a trailer, the EDWOSB audit is the movie. Now let's talk about what this audit actually is digging into, because this is where it gets personal. The SBA is verifying economic disadvantage, and that means your finances. The request goes back 3 years and covers both personal and business tax returns. And when you look at the eligibility rules, you can see exactly what they are measuring against: your net worth, your income, the total value of your assets, and whether you have moved any assets around recently. These aren't abstract questions. They map directly to the thresholds in the regulation. So this isn't something to ignore. It isn't something to panic over either. It's something to take seriously and handle carefully, because the questions are sensitive and the stakes are real. Here's the part every EDWOSB owner needs to actually know: the thresholds. This comes straight from the regulation itself, 13 CFR 127203. These are the lines they're checking you against. Number 1, personal net worth. To stay economically disadvantaged, it has to be less than $850,000, and that excludes your ownership stake in the business and the equity in your primary home. Number 2, income. If your adjusted gross income averaged over the last 3 years is over $400,000, the SBA presumes you are not economically disadvantaged. That one you can rebut, but the burden is on you. Number 3, total assets. If the fair market value of everything you own tops $6.5 million, you generally won't qualify. 2 important details: your retirement accounts, your IRA, your 401k. Those are excluded from the net worth calculation. And this is a big one. If you transferred assets to a family member within the last 2 years, the SBA can count those right back against you. That's exactly the kind of things these economic disadvantage rules look at. So know your numbers before you respond. So what are the actual outcomes here? The SBA laid out 2. If they review your information and decide you still qualify, you get a written notice of continued certification. It goes in your My SBA certification record and you keep your status. But if you miss the deadline or they decide you no longer meet the requirements, they'll propose you for decertification under 13 CFR 127405. At that point, you get 20 calendar days to respond in writing to every reason they list. And here's the warning SBA spelled out directly. If you do not cooperate or you do not provide what they've asked for, they can draw what's called an adverse inference, meaning they can assume the worst. They also mentioned firms can choose to voluntarily withdraw before the audit. Think very hard before doing that and talk to a government contracts attorney first. Now here's the part that turns this from a paperwork problem into something much bigger. While this audit is going on, there's an actual bill in the Congress trying to eliminate the Women-Owned Small Business Program entirely. It's called the Ending Discrimination in Government Contracting Act. Senator Mike Lee and Representative Glenn Grotham introduced it back in April. And if it is passed as written, it would strip the statutory foundation out from under the WOSB program, including the 5% government-wide contracting goal and the set-aside and sole source tools contracting officers use to direct work to women-owned firms. To be fair and accurate, that bill has not passed. As of this recording, it hasn't even made it out of the committee. And on the other side, groups like Women Impacting Public Policy and the National Association of Women's Business Owners are fighting it hard, pointing to billions of dollars in contracts won by women-owned firms as proof that the program works. But you need to know it exists because the audit and the bill point in the same direction: more scrutiny, less certainty. The contractors who come out fine are the ones paying attention now and getting their house in order instead of finding out the hard way. So here's your action list. 4 things. 1. If you got the email, respond before June 30th. Don't let a missed deadline be the reason you lose your certification. 2. Pull your numbers now. Net worth, 3-year average income, total assets. Know exactly where you stand against those thresholds before you submit anything. 3. If anything is complicated, and complicated includes asset transfers, a spouse's finances, or being anywhere near those limits, get a government contracts attorney involved. This is not the place to wing it. And 4, check your status directly in MySBA certifications and make sure your SAM registration matches. Mismatched records cause problems all on their own. The Women-Owned Small Business Program has helped a huge number of firms break into the federal market. Right now, it's under a microscope from 2 directions at once. That's the reality of where we are. The contractors who stay informed and stay compliant are the ones who still be standing when the dust settles. That's the work we do here, cutting through the noise so you know exactly what's happening and what to do about it. So here's how we can help. If you got that email and you're not sure how to respond, or you just want a second set of eyes before that June 30th deadline, we'll help you get your documentation organized and make sure you understand exactly what the SBA is asking for. The clock is running on this one, so don't sit it out. Book a free GovCon consultation at CyberX Gov Solutions. And if you know a woman-owned business that needs to see this before the 30th, send it their way. It could save their certification.